You're applauding now. We give each other jokes to read.
Yeah, we're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never.
You know those pictures that were never meant to see daylight? The kind that live in locked phones and whispered secrets? Well, one of them just blew up the royal world. Late last night, without warning, boom, it dropped. No context, no explanation, just one photo. Meghan, standing beside a man no one inside the palace press office could even name. The moment that image surfaced, phones started ringing, headlines began forming, and panic spread like spilled wine across marble floors. It wasn't scandalous in the usual way, no wild kissing, no obvious wrongdoing, but it was too close, too familiar. The way they stood, the small tilt of her smile, his quiet gaze, it spoke of something shared, something that shouldn't be public. And within seconds, the internet turned into a battlefield. Tweets, posts, speculations. Who is he? Where was this taken? Why does the palace look nervous? The questions flew faster than the palace could breathe, and behind those old stone walls, whispers turned into sleepless phone calls. Because that picture, that single frame, was not supposed to exist.
On the Sussex side of the fence, tipped the press off. Now let's put the case. I kind of agree with you.
Within minutes, royal reporters went hunting for proof. Was it edited? Was it stolen? But the photo had no watermark, no timestamp, no digital fingerprints at all. It appeared like a ghost from nowhere, only a soft golden light behind two figures who should never have been together. And for the first time in years, Buckingham Palace didn't issue its classic no comment. Oh no, this time their silence meant alarm. Phones inside the palace lit up like fire alarms. Senior aides called lawyers. One even used a phrase rarely spoken within those walls. This requires immediate assessment. That's royal code for something dangerous has happened.
The then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
Imagine that being exposed like this. If the picture's real, someone close to Meghan just broke a sacred level of trust. And if it's fake, then someone is willing to start a royal war to destroy her image and the palace's control over its story. Either way, it was a bomb. Late-night whispers became frantic, strategizing. Some believed it was an inside betrayal. Others thought it was a calculated attack. But one thing everyone agreed on, this was no accident. Something about that picture didn't add up.
Reminder, Prince Harry married a talentless Soho house, alleged, named Meghan Markle. And I've seen this before, but I have to admit.
And the question on everyone's lips? Who is he? Because if the answer was what people feared, this wasn't just gossip, this was chaos waiting to explode.
Twitter account GS Elevator, Goldman Sachs Elevator, shared on Twitter that Harry...
Before sunrise, while the rest of the world obsessed over pixels and angles, palace analysts were already tearing the photo apart like detectives in a spy movie. Their forensic specialists found something strange, a compression mark, the kind that appears when an image has been resent through multiple devices. Meaning, it came from inside, not outside. Someone close, someone trusted. That realization froze the room. Everyone had assumed paparazzi, maybe an angry ex-staffer, maybe a rogue Hollywood insider. But no, the digital trail pointed somewhere far more disturbing to an encrypted account tied to someone from Meghan's own early media team. A former consultant who'd vanished months ago but still had personal archives that should have been deleted. Suddenly, the issue wasn't privacy, it was motive. Why this photo? Why now? The palace split into factions. Some thought it was clumsy, timing an accidental leak. Others saw a strategy, perfectly planned. And deep down, a darker question began to pulse. Was this meant to break Meghan or the monarchy itself? That's when the investigation took a chilling turn. The palace's legal team discovered that the photo's location wasn't just any street or cafe, it was a restricted coastal property, a secret royal briefing site that few people even know exists. And Meghan? She was never supposed to be there. If the picture was real, then the man beside her wasn't random. He had clearance. He was part of something. When they checked security logs from that day, one entry was gone, completely erased. Not edited, not hidden, just missing, which is impossible. Royal systems don't just glitch. Every entry is double saved and mirrored. So when one disappears, there's only one explanation: someone powerful made it vanish on purpose. Within hours, palace lawyers started whispering phrases that send shivers down spines. Falsification of official records, classified breach, challengeable incident. Inside the palace, that means one thing: legal escalation. Quiet meetings. No smiles, no denial, just strategy. But beneath the calm, everyone was terrified, because the mystery man was about to be identified. The name finally surfaced through a cross-check of access lists. Not a guard, not a staffer, but a consultant. A strategic advisor from Meghan's early transition days, when she and Harry were first stepping away from royal life. A man who'd met her twice. Briefly, under supervision. And now, somehow, he was back not in person, but in that haunting photograph. The identification should have answered everything. It didn't. It made things worse. Why was he near her again? Why at that secret place? Why now, when the monarchy's stability was already under quiet pressure? No one wanted to say the word aloud, but it hung heavy in every conversation. Sabotage. Legal teams discussed next steps, injunctions, privacy orders, even invoking ancient institutional protections. That last one is so serious it's rarely used. It means they feared the crown itself was being manipulated. Either that image was real and no one could explain it, or it was fake and someone was trying to rewrite history. By dusk, a full crisis meeting was underway. Lawyers, strategists, and 2 private royal aides sat inside a sealed room. Phones confiscated, curtains drawn. That one image glowed on the wall like evidence in a courtroom. Something's wrong, someone whispered. They rechecked travel logs, delivery schedules, even flight paths. Nothing matched. Nothing explained why Meghan was there or how the consultant appeared out of thin air. Someone engineered this, one voice said flatly. They studied every angle, lighting, posture, distance. It was a professional photo, not a candid. And that alone was horrifying. One advisor finally asked the question everyone feared. Was she meeting him on purpose? Silence. Then another answered, or was someone making it look that way? Either way, it was deadly, because both possibilities meant manipulation. Hours later, they uncovered another red flag, the consultant's own travel records. He'd been in the same region that week, but none of it was listed anywhere official. He'd booked hotels under an alias, paid in cash, rented cars privately. He didn't want to be traced. That single fact changed everything. If he was hiding his movements, either he was meeting Meghan secretly or someone was using him as bait. And in that room full of polished calm, one sentence stopped every heartbeat. If this is staged, said the senior strategist, then it's not about scandal, it's about destabilization. The word destabilization echoed like thunder, because that meant this wasn't just a royal embarrassment, it was a calculated strike at the institution itself. Part 2. By the next morning, the palace reached a grim conclusion. The leak was deliberate, strategic, and perfectly timed. Meghan, exhausted and furious, had barely processed the first image when her phone buzzed again. Another notification, another photo, and this one hit like a blade. It wasn't her beside the man this time. It was him alone standing near a private residence tied to her earliest transition meetings. The timestamp matched a date Meghan had publicly described as one of her lowest, most isolated days. Now the internet was being handed proof that she hadn't been alone at all. Her team exploded. Phones rang. Lawyers demanded explanations. PR experts panicked. "Is this real?" someone shouted. Meghan didn't answer. Because it wasn't just about real or fake anymore, it was about implication. And implication spreads faster than truth. The photo looked cropped, carefully framed to suggest secrecy. Every online commentator became a detective, analyzing shadows, reflections, and streetlights as if decoding a spy message. The result? A digital storm. Meghan's silence was branded guilt, her words manipulation. She whispered to her team, "They're targeting me." Then softer, "Who gains from this?" That's when the truth began to dawn. 2 leaks, timed perfectly. This wasn't chaos. It was a campaign. Harry saw the second image while on a call. He froze. The silence that followed wasn't anger, it was dread. Because that location, that consultant, they were both tied to royal operations from years ago. Things that were never meant to overlap with Meghan's world. It meant someone had connected their pasts deliberately. He turned to her, pale. "This isn't random," he said quietly. "Someone wants this to escalate." While they argued over lawyers and headlines, Netflix, yes, Netflix was having its own emergency. Executives jumped on a crisis call. Meghan was one of their most valuable partners, and now a mysterious image tied her to potential institutional scandal. The company demanded her timelines, footage, documentation, anything to prove she wasn't involved. Meghan insisted she hadn't seen that consultant in years. But when Netflix analysts found that the leaked photo didn't come from her documentary archives, the panic deepened. If it didn't come from her, and not from Netflix, then who leaked it? A strategist muttered the phrase every PR nightmare begins with, "We need receipts." Netflix wanted distance, Meghan wanted defense. And in between stood an invisible war of perception. Meanwhile, inside Buckingham Palace, investigators zoomed deeper into the photos. That's when they saw it in the reflection of a window behind the mystery man. A faint silhouette, someone holding a camera, not casually, deliberately, waiting. And the camera? It wasn't ordinary. It was a rare, discontinued model, one of only 12 ever issued to palace contractors years ago. 11 were accounted for. One had been reported lost. Now it wasn't lost. It was there, reflected in that window. Panic turned to realization. This wasn't an accident. It was staged, an orchestrated setup involving royal equipment, secret locations, and a consultant with strange political ties. Even more alarming, the image had been processed with software used by European firms specializing in digital influence campaigns, the same region the consultant had just visited under a false name. The palace froze. This wasn't gossip anymore, it was warfare by image. Within hours, the consultant's name leaked online, confirmed by documents no one should have. Hashtags exploded, and international headlines turned feral. Commonwealth nations began whispering about manipulation, destabilization, and hidden agendas. In the US, talk shows spun theories about Meghan being used as a pawn. In the UK, headlines split between betrayal and setup. By dawn, governments were quietly exchanging encrypted messages. One foreign minister even requested a briefing, not an update, a briefing, a sign this had moved beyond royal scandal into diplomatic tension. And then, the courtroom day came. The hearing everyone had been waiting for. Meghan, pale but composed, walked in beside Harry. Cameras flashed like lightning. Inside, silence hung like fog. Lawyers lined their papers, both sides ready to rewrite the truth. The palace carried a sealed folder. Everyone noticed. Because sealed folders mean one thing, new evidence. But before the session could begin, phones buzzed again. Another leak. This time, a video. The same consultant. Another restricted location. The timing was surgical. It dropped just minutes before the hearing began. Reporters ran out. Lawyers froze. Meghan leaned toward Harry and whispered something no one else heard. His eyes closed, not in defeat, but realization. This wasn't over. Not today. Not until they found whoever orchestrated every shadow, every frame, every whisper.